All right, hi everyone. Welcome to another episode of Near to Clutter, Sim to Simplicity. Today we want to talk about simple pleasures. Let's dive in.
Yeah, let's do it.
What does simple pleasure mean to you?
So I was thinking about this a lot because it's very the definition is very simple, but at the same time very complex. So a simple pleasure to me is something that I do that brings me joy, happiness, that I get to do over and over again. And every time I think about it, it brings a smile to my face. So that's how I would define a simple pleasure. It doesn't take a lot of, there's not a lot of gear involved. There's not a lot of money involved. It's just a thing that you do.
Give me an example.
Well, but we're going to get into that. But to me, it's drinking coffee.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Where I'm from Brazil. Coffee is a big part of our culture. So drinking coffee is a simple pleasure. It doesn't have to be complex. It doesn't have to be expensive. It's just the ritual, the fact that I'm drinking coffee. I'm slowing down my day. I'm sitting down and I'm just enjoying coffee. I never like drinking coffee in a run. So even when I'm drinking coffee on my way to work, when I'm walking, I try to savor every sip, and
I love that.
yeah, because it's important.
I have an iWatch just like you,
Yeah.
and I like to, on the iWatch, you can set your fitness goals.
Yes.
So when I walk the dog in the morning, I put on my watch as like the outdoor walk and I walk it. And I've noticed a pattern that every single time, when we walk, we go for about like 45 minutes to an hour.
Right.
And my heart rate, because it tracks your heart rate, right? Like it's pretty stable, whatever. But every single time I come close to the condo building where I live, my heart rate spikes.
Oh,
Always by like 10 to 20 beats.
interesting.
And I love that. Like, I love that when I come home, I'm so happy that my heart starts beating faster
That
because
is
I'm just
awesome.
so excited. And I feel like that's the definition of simple pleasures is when you're just in love with something and it's so small and it can be tangible or not, but it just makes your heart like skip a beat almost.
That was a great definition. So let's talk about more specifically about the simple pleasures. So can you share a small everyday moment that brings you joy?
I can name so many. Like, I just like when I think about simple pleasures, I'm like holding hands, hugging, kissing my husband and my baby in the morning, having coffee, enjoying my coffee, right? Going for a walk, just looking at the flowers, looking outside, looking around my apartment, uh, just, enjoying my space. Like, simple pleasures are just all around me. And I'm so happy that I've built that life for me. And I hope that people can build that for themselves as well. What about you?
Yeah, I think it all comes down to simplicity, right? So we have simplified our lives so we can actually appreciate these moments around us. So I have this corner in my condo where I can see my living room and my kitchen and all of that. And this is the first time that I lived alone, so I decorated my condo the way I wanted. The chair that I have there is a copy of my favorite Danish chair. I unfortunately could not afford the original Danish chair. So I found a copy here in Canada and I bought that. So I have this corner where I have my coffee every morning. And this would be the definition of a simple pleasure because the decision I want to second what you said. I love where I live and it was my decision. And I had 5 different options that I was looking at, but it was always my plan A was to live in that condo, and it came into fruition. My family was here in Canada and they helped me, and I will be forever grateful to them for helping me with getting the apartment and all of that. And there's this joy that I feel when I'm having coffee in the morning. And I position the chair. A lot of people position the chairs looking outside or looking at the view. My view that I wanted was my condo, the inside that I decorated, right? Yes. With my little possessions and all that. and my art on the wall and everything, the color palette that I've chosen. I love interior design, so it's a big deal for me. There's no visual clutter, so I just sit in that corner and I look, and I feel proud of myself.
Yeah.
I was like, this is me.
This is how your space should make you feel.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
And the people that came over, my friends and my family, they were like, "Oh my God, this is so you. This it feels such a ref place." And I was like, "Yep, that was the idea."
I read that minimalism actually came from art. Yeah, it started as an art form of sorts, and perhaps what you did with your apartment is you created, like, it's an art form to furnish your place and to decorate your place.
Yeah, that could be it. I sometimes I look at it and I go, "Wow, this is," because the vision it took, like when you live a simple life, you live with intention, right? So just to give you a bit of a context, I look at the place in August of 2023, and then I was able to rent the place, and then I had all the measurements and all the plans, and I was still living in my house, in the process of selling the house, but I could already see myself in the condo because I had the floor plan. So in my head, from August to January of the following year, I was designing my place.
I think like that's the key, just going slow and just really like living in your space, appreciating your space, seeing what you actually need. Like, don't go fast, don't rush it. I think making a home is a process.
Yes, it is.
So let's move on. How do simple pleasures differ from materialistic happiness?
I feel like materialistic happiness comes from a void that you're trying to fill inside with purchasing things. And then the happiness is like a spike of dopamine that you have when you got the thing. So you get the thing and you go, yeah. And that thing lasts like 15 seconds. And then that void is once again there. A simple pleasure is something that you do, and at least for me, I feel like a sense of accomplishment when I get to enjoy that. And not necessarily, I don't feel that the emotion is connected with, it's not in the same part of the brain or the same chemicals are activated.
And it's more long term, right?
Yes.
Like you were saying, shopping is really fast dopamine, and then
unless you are shopping for your simple pleasure. So when I buy my coffee, then it's not it. I can feel it in my body. It's not the same kind of happiness. It's just like, okay, I took another step towards my simple pleasure. Yeah. What about you?
I actually noticed that when I am anxious or unhappy with something in my life, like if I'm unhappy with my body, for example, or with how things are going, or maybe I'm underachieving, or whatever it may be, just kind of low and negative feelings, that's when I find myself just scrolling and looking for things to buy. And it's so crazy to me because now my awareness level is such that when I find myself scrolling, looking at different clothes or what skincare or whatever it may be, I don't care, like household items, I actually catch myself and I'm like, Anastasia, what are you dealing with? Like, who hurt you? Is it your work? Is it your,
Right.
And immediately I close all the tabs and I'm like, okay, so I'm looking at clothes because I feel like perhaps I'm not happy with my body. I'm not happy with my body because I didn't get a chance to work out in a really long time. Like, I was busy with the family, I was busy with work, something like that. I haven't been as active as I would like to be. And so then my perception of my body turns to negative, right? And so I'm like, okay, I need new clothes for this new body that I have, even though I'm, the same weight. It's just how I feel. And same with my house, like I feel like when I'm overwhelmed by amount of crap in my house, I'm like, oh yeah, I need like organizational bins or new towels or new this, and I'm looking at things, or like new bedding, right? And I'm just like, wait a second, I don't need new things to cover up the problem areas. What I do need is to get rid of things to find that freedom again, in my space and in my mind.
what are some of the techniques that you use? Let's say you as you said, you were scrolling and trying to oh, I'm gonna buy this, I'm gonna buy that. So you said that you close your tabs. So you're not on your phone, you're on a desktop computer. What are some of the techniques that you
Ah,
use to
yeah.
stop from pushing the one buy, click here now, let's buy all of the everything immediately? What
Yeah.
are some of the techniques that you use?
I don't have. I don't think it's a good technique.
Okay.
But what I do is most of the time on my laptop, yeah. But I don't really shop through phone. I just find it so not user friendly for some reason.
Okay.
So normally I'm on my laptop and I put everything in the cart that I like. When I
Okay.
see it, I'm like, oh, yeah, this is good. This is good. For
Right.
example, yesterday was one of those, evenings for me
Mm-hmm.
where I'm just like, oh yeah, like let me check this skincare thing out.
Mm-hmm.
It was a natural company from Canada.
Okay.
So I'm like looking at their website and just like adding everything in cart that I see that I think that I would like.
Right.
And then it came down to $250.
Oh, okay.
Now, I can't say I'm a frugal person because I spend a lot of money on things that I love. Like I buy quality clothes and I like
Mm-hmm.
to dine in really nice
Of
restaurants and
course.
things like that because food is important to me.
Yeah.
And then I was like, am I gonna spend $250 on like three little bottles of God knows what? And thank God, like, okay, guys, like, read the ingredients. Like I read the ingredients of these things, and I'm like, you can get some of these oils just separately at like your local grocery store,
Right.
and they will do just as much good for you.
Have you, one thing that I do that I found was very effective, I unsubscribe from newsletters. Because every time I purchase something,
Mhm.
I'm automatically subscribed to the newsletter of that company. So they keep pushing stuff for me, and then I immediately unsubscribe. Like I am ruthless with that.
Yeah.
Because to me, email is also social media, and
Mhm.
it's one of the most important ones. Some people, there's a school of thought that don't believe that email is social media. I believe it is, and it's one of the most effective ones because you actually stop to look at your emails, right? You're not scrolling. You're kind of like, oh, this came in. Let me see what this is. And there's a notification. There's a ping. There's a whole thing.
Mhm.
And yeah, I unsubscribe from all the newsletters. And if I see the ads on Instagram, I will sometime unfollow the company and I will ask Instagram to stop showing me the ads. And I've tried different things. And the thing, when I say I already bought an item from this ad or this company, seems to be the most effective one so far.
Yeah, another thing you can do is you can have a wish list. So you can scroll and look through all the things you want and just keep
Yes.
adding them to your list and just promise to yourself, like, okay, I'll get it tomorrow.
Mm-hmm.
And then wake up the next day and ask yourself, is this urgent? Do I need to get it right now? If no, just wait another day. And then I bet you anything, if you wait 2 to 3 days, you're gonna forget what you added to your wish list. And
Right.
you can always revisit your wish list. You can
Yeah,
always take a look and see if you still need it or if you still want it. But if you don't want it, just don't get it.
that's true.
All right. What are some common modern distractions that prevent people from enjoying simple pleasures?
I think it comes down to our phones and social media. I think that's the one. Like people are just scrolling and scrolling and scrolling. And I watched streaming on my TV. I'm very old school about that. Like I actually have I watch TV on a TV, and I was reading comments about people on Instagram about a show, and they were like, "Oh yeah, but this is not great to watch on a phone." And then I was like, "Oh, this is an outlier. This is a person that is watching a full TV show that was shot like a movie on their phone." And then I started counting the amount of people that said the same thing or like the. And then I realized that the majority of people are now watching TV on their phones, not on TV.
Wow, that's crazy.
Yeah, and that got me into thinking like, why do I do what I do with the videography and all that if people are gonna watch it on a small phone? And that got me thinking that the phones are getting bigger and bigger. Like very soon we're gonna have full iPads on
Oh
our
no.
pockets, Everyone's gonna have to carry a purse for their huge phone, so it's also a screen and all that. So I feel the modern distraction would be the phones, not exclusively social media, but most of it social media, and not turning off your notifications. Because the moment it's a chemical thing in your brain, right? You get a notification, you're like, oh, someone needs me, someone wants to talk with me, I have a chance to comment on something so I can be seen by people. So it's a whole complex situation. And then you just pick up your phone and you're done. Sometimes when I'm working or I'm working on the podcast, I go on Instagram or I go in another social media platform and I'm searching for something and I get lost in the thing. And then 5 minutes go by and I go, oh, I was searching for this. Focus, man.
It's like
Focus.
a pit with a labyrinth inside.
Yes. Yes. And the algorithms are getting so good at this. Like TikTok is the master of this, and all the other social media platforms are kind of catching in. We're showing only what you like, and then you get into this echo chamber, and then, oh, another thing that I like. How do they know? Well, because you liked and you commented, you watch all of this, and then it just keeps going and going and going. And then when you catch yourself, you were scrolling for like an hour
Yeah.
and watching videos and reels and whatever, and life is passing and you're on your phone.
But guys, it's okay if you watch Nia to Clutter, Sim to Simplicity Instagram content,
Yes.
but not any other content, okay?
No, I feel it's social media is such an integral part of our lives now. So it's not bad that you are on social media, but you have to catch yourself at one point. And I do a very good job of catching myself, but sometimes I don't. And then I go, oh my God, there was an hour of my life that I'm never gonna get back.
So my answer is exactly like yours, and it actually comes from this lady, Sherry Turkle. I
Mm-hmm.
don't know if you heard of her, but
No.
she's a professor, and she wrote a book back in 2011, which is called Alone Together. And already in 2011, she talked about the impact of smartphones, not even social media specifically, but smartphones, because smartphones have apps, including social media.
Yes.
And, she talks about our addiction to phones and what happens to people, and how they can lose themselves and get really detached from reality.
Mm-hmm.
um, I read this book when I was doing my master's in communications, and it was a part of a bigger research that I did on the virtual world and people in it. And, I don't want to sound all doomy gloomy here, but as my sister in law says, stressy depressy. I don't want to sound stressy depressy here, but people find like build a life for themselves in the virtual world,
Yes.
and they completely detach from their physical world. And so I agree with you that phones and just different technologies around us that allow us to go into the virtual world,
Yeah.
they can potentially remove us from reality, and they can remove us from um, our bodies. Like we're not in tune with our bodies. We can't really enjoy the breeze on our face and the
Mm-hmm.
sunlight outside, and that coffee, you drink it really fast while you're scrolling social
Mm-hmm.
media, right? And we forget what we're doing. Sometimes you're just like, it's kind of like, because you flush the toilet for so often. Sometimes you get out of the bathroom and you're like, did I flush?
That's a great analogy.
Or like, did I like brush my teeth, or did I turn off the oven?
Right.
Because you're like, it's so automatic for you.
Yeah.
And so don't let yourself lose yourself in this one small phone that you are just not aware of what you're doing anymore in your life.
How can we reframe our mindset to find more contentment in the little things? I think this ties back to the answer that we just gave about living on our phones and all that. and catching yourself and making a point of not using your phone. Let's talk about the example that you're walking and then you're near a body of water and then you feel this breeze coming in. That's a simple pleasure that gives you joy. There's not a lot of equipment required. There's no money involved. You're just there. You're hiking or you're walking, and it just this feels good for you. You want to take a photo, take a photo. Don't take 25 photos. Don't check your social media feed when you are feeling the breeze, right? So like change your mindset and live in the moment. Don't think about the shot you're going to put on Instagram. I'm a photographer. I'm always thinking about the shot. But it's not like, oh, I need to register this and then put it on my profile because then people are going to like me more for that. And I'm going to get the dopamine hits of the likes. And then people are going to go, oh, he was there. That's great that he's doing that and all that. Enjoy the moment. I always go back to concerts because this is one of the things I love the most. I make a point of taking photos of the band in the first two songs or three songs, and I do a video of my favorite song, like a 30-second video, and that's it. My phone stays in my pocket. I am in the concert. I'm present in the moment. I try to be one with the band because I have seen so many bands that now I only go to the bands that I really love. So it's a big deal for me to be at a concert with the band that I love. And I really try to be in the moment, and I see everyone around me on their phones
No way.
filming
Oh.
and you have the little screen.
But they're watching the screen. They're not watching
They're
the
watching
band.
the screen to get the good video, and I completely understand that, right? But they're putting a screen between them and the band they're watching live, and it's a small screen, unless you have an iPad. I've seen people get iPads out in
And it doesn't
concerts.
matter. It's just a little bit
It's
of a
just
bigger
the screen that is preventing you from enjoying the band in front of you. So I don't judge because everyone is in a different place in their lives. Some people really want to keep that moment for themselves. You don't know how long it has been since they last saw this band or they were last in a concert, and they just want to, oh my god, or someone they love was not there at the concert and they want to register everything for this other person. That's totally fine. For me, I really try to catch myself and go, no, no barriers. It's you, it's the band. That's why you're here. Otherwise, you just stay home and watch it on YouTube.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I accessed my external hard drive recently because you and I were talking about something, how we need to transfer our videos and a backup.
Yeah.
So in the main folder there, I saw a folder that was called blogs. So I clicked on it and I opened it and I saw um, a blog post that I did from 2018.
Okay.
And I remember that it was a part of a challenge that I did. I think that year I did something new for 30 days every month.
Okay.
And I think January started off with me writing every day or something like that. So I wrote a blog post on happiness. And I reread it and I was like, okay, this is still pretty decent. You know, sometimes when you read your old stuff or you look at your old photos, you're like cringing. But this time I was like, oh, look, this is okay. This is semi decent.
Right.
But one thing that caught my eye there is that I wrote happiness as a muscle. And I went on for a few paragraphs about how I believe that happiness is a muscle that you need to train.
Okay.
And with this question specifically, like how can we change our mindset? I think it needs to start with you taking a piece of paper and a pen and writing, like, what do you want your life to look like? Kind of like vision boarding, but just like writing it out. Like, and I bet you anything, most people will write things like, I want to be happy, right? So then elaborate on that. Just write a few bullet points. What would make you happy? Is it, quitting your toxic job? Is it being more present with your loved ones? Is it, spending more time outside? What is it? And, I think that when we put in the work of trying to uh, put a narrative to our life in a very physical form, like a paper and a pen,
Mm-hmm.
it'll stick with us. Like we will think about it, and then we will add more things, and then we'll change our mind, and maybe we'll erase some points and
Right.
add new ones. But always come back to the why. Like why do you want to be happy? Perhaps thinking about it and thinking about your life and creating the life that you want,
Right.
perhaps it'll shift some things within you. And I don't think that change happens overnight, but I bet you anything that over time
Right.
you're gonna catch yourself being on your phone more and more and more. You're gonna be like, I'm on my phone, la 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 la, scrolling, whatever. And then you're gonna be like, oh, but I also want to be outside. Okay, let's go outside.
Right.
And I think that you will train yourself, and it's not a
Mm-hmm.
bad thing. Like I'm not saying that you're like a dog that needs training, but like you will train yourself to try to let go of the addiction to your phone.
Mm-hmm.
Are there any habits or practices like mindfulness that help cultivate an appreciation for simplicity?
Yes, there are. And it is mindfulness. After I started doing therapy and I started meditating, I started also journaling. And for you to journal old school with a
Yeah.
pen and a notebook, you have to contemplate, right? So you need to slow down your life. It all comes down to slowing down. So you have to find spaces in your day to slow down your life, and then you have a moment of contemplation and reflection. And then in the contemplation you look around you and you go, oh, this was i'm proud I'm proud of this. I am proud of you, talking to yourself, right? Always be gentle with yourself. I'm proud of you for doing this, or I'm proud of how this came about, or a reflection, oh, we could have done this better. Let's do this differently next time. And all of this slowing down makes you appreciate the simple pleasures in life. It all comes down to simplifying your life and slowing down. When you simplify your life, you actually have the space and the mind capacity to slow down. So I feel like simplifying is the foundation and the base of everything. And then it all stems from there.
I agree with you. And you can also set some rules for yourself. If you're like a bit of a rule follower, you can say that when I go on walks outside every day for 25 to 30 minutes, I do not take out my phone.
That's a good rule.
Unless you see like a mama bird feeding the baby bird.
Right. Oh, you cannot miss the shot.
You are allowed one photo.
That was very that's very strict.
Yeah, that's very strict. But I also either read somewhere or watched somewhere, I forget. But there's this theory that actually works that when you put your phone away in a different room
Mm.
and you go about your day, you eventually forget about your phone. I tried it, and now I do it every single day. I've been doing it for months. I just put my phone somewhere like
Right.
in my closet on my baby's like wardrobe
Okay.
thing, kind of somewhere where I can easily find it, but it's not
Right.
really in my eyesight. And I go about my day. I just walk out of the room, even if I don't have anything to do. I just like walk out of the room, and I'm just like, and I'm like, oh well, let me go to the washroom, or like, oh, like let me make myself a
Mm-hmm.
tea and go about my day, and then I forget about my phone completely. So that's a really good one that's worked for me. But rule setting doesn't really work for me because as soon as I say no to myself, oh, reverse psychology.
Right.
You cannot have this piece of chocolate. I will eat the entire
Oh yeah.
fucking thing.
Oh yeah. And it's chocolate. Come on.
Yeah. So, but if you are a rule follower,
Right.
you can set rules like, no phone when I'm with my kid, or no phone when I'm watching a movie with my partner in the evening,
Right.
or something like that. But instead of saying no,
Mm-hmm.
which doesn't work for me,
Right.
I reframe it in my mind. It's more for me like, I want to be present for my baby. I want to be present for my husband who's been waiting for my attention. We've had a long day of work and then taking care of the baby and the dog, and now we're alone together finally, and we can like watch a movie
Right.
and hold hands. Right? So so
So
it's
you,
more like it's a positive thing. Like I want to do this. Like I miss my people. I love my people. I want to be there. And same thing outside when I walk my dog. Like she gets 2 walks a day, 3 walks a day, really.
right.
But during the day we're busy, and then there's a kid, and the kid chases her around, and she doesn't have like peaceful anything.
Mm-hmm.
So when I'm alone with her outside, I'm like, I want to spend time with my dog.
Yes.
My dog loves me. She's a part of the family. She wants to play. Look at her. Like she's wagging her tail and
Right.
she's smiling at me. Like, let's play.
Mm-hmm.
So that kind of works better for me than saying, like, no phone on outside walks. I'm like,
Right.
no. But it may work for some people.
True. And when you say that you put your phone away, in a way you're saying no.
Yeah, no, I'm more like, oh, let me just put my phone down here. And then
But
let
then you
me
walk away, you are saying no to the craving that you have inside of you to check the phone.
exactly, but not indirectly, because reverse psychology. If I put my phone down and I say, no phone, then I'm going to be like, okay, Anastasia, who are you challenging here? I win 100% of the time in this battle. So I will take my phone. But if I say,
I
oh,
see.
let's just put my phone down and let me just go grab a coffee or a tea.
That's very interesting, reverse psychology. I use my phone as my sound system at home as well, and it controls my lights, and it controls my robot vacuum. So it controls a lot of different things in my home. So I use my phone all day long, but I make a point of not going into social media and not checking my emails. So I grab the phone for its purpose at the moment, and then I put it back down. And it's very hard because sometimes the moment that I grab the phone to change the music I'm listening to, I get a message. And then I go, and then I go, no, you're working. Let's look at the messages over lunch.
Yeah.
And that has helped me. It doesn't work every day, but most of the days it works. And also, one thing that is interesting, and this goes back to my people pleasing days. I needed to answer all text messages immediately. I needed to answer all emails immediately and all that because I wanted everyone to like me, and I'm not like that anymore. So now, when you say no, because when you don't reply to a message and you don't reply to an email right away, you are saying no in a way. People will respect you more because you are protecting yourself.
Mhm.
When you say no to stuff, you are saying yes to you, right?
Mhm.
So
Mhm.
you're protecting yourself in a way, and then you're like, no, at noon when I'm having lunch, I'm gonna answer everybody. I'm gonna see the emails. I'm gonna do the things, and then when I'm at work, it's head down and I'm working. Yeah.
That's true. You can also on an iPhone. I don't know if it works on Android, but on an iPhone you can set time limits. Right, that's what it's called. So on Instagram, my time limit is 30 minutes per day.
And then what happens when the time limit expires?
It shows the social media icon as dark and locked, and you can press on it, and you can say delete limit for today, or you can say give me another 15 minutes or 1 minute or something like that.
And do you feel that this barrier helps?
Yeah, I sometimes go through give me another 15 minutes like 2 or 3 times.
It's like a
But
snooze button.
yeah, it's like a snooze button, but I never do like delete limit for today because
Okay.
I know that's like game over. But when I go through the 15 minutes a few times and then the app just locks me out after 15 minutes,
Right.
just that, like mentally, I'm like, okay, like it comes down to like self respect,
True.
Because I'm like, it's kind of like someone slapping you in the face, like repeatedly after every 15 minutes. I mean, you're like, no, no, no. Just wait 1 second. And then it slaps you again, and you're like, all right. Well, I respect myself enough to like stop this nonsense.
All right, everyone. That's it. Thank you so much for tuning to this week's episode. Anastasia, what is the question of the week?
Okay, the question of the week is what is your favorite part of the day and why?
That is, oh my God. Yeah, I like that question a lot.
I think for both of us, it's the morning. We talk
Yes.
about having our coffee probably 20 times per each episode.
Yeah, pretty much. But not early morning. I'm not an early morning person. I'm more of a 8:30 a.m. person kind of situation. Okay, so don't forget to find us on YouTube, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, and Instagram. Until next time on Net to Clutter, Sim to Simplicity, where we cut through the chaos and help you simplify life, work, and everything in between.
Bye.